Hi, this is Mrs. Rutherford. This is the part 2 of the review video. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the ones that do not have, it's not on my unit circle. Okay, some of you guys, you just look at problems like this and you just skip them. You don't even try. That is unacceptable. Okay, if you get here and you can't find it on your unit circle and you know it's not there, don't just go blank and skip it. Think about it. When was the last time we used sine and cosine and tangent? Before you got to pre-cal, before there was a unit circle, when did you use them? Think back to geometry. What shape did you use? You used triangles, so you always need to draw a triangle. Okay, so here's my triangle. It's my right angle. Here's my angle. Okay, tangent, remember, arc means I'm looking for an angle, which means this information is not an angle. Okay, so again, sometimes when you see tangent, a lot of you go, oh, that's sine over cosine. Yes, that's correct, but you need to know the time and the place. If I'm drawing a triangle, I'm not going to do sine over cosine. Instead, I'm going to use my SOHCAHTOA. Sorry, some old hippo caught another hippo tripping over apples. There we go. So here's my tangent. What does that mean? Well, that's opposite over adjacent. So this is going to stand for opposite over adjacent. Well, what's the bottom part of this fraction? What's on the bottom part of a whole number to make it a fraction? 4 over 1. So here's my angle. Opposite my angle is going to be my 4. Adjacent to my angle is going to be my 1. Well, I still need to figure out what this hypotenuse is. Well, for that I have to use Pythagorean theorem. Some of you are still messing this up. Remember, across from my right angle is my hypotenuse, and it is always my C. That is where you guys make mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to have 4 squared plus 1 squared is going to equal C squared. So I'm going to get 16 plus 1 is going to give me C squared. And then that gives me 17 equals C squared. On your guys' quizzes, a lot of you just put 17 right here. That is not true. I have to get just C, not C squared, which means I'm going to have the square root of 17. Now, we do not use the decimal because the decimal is not exact. The only thing that makes it exact is keeping the radical there. So this is just going to stay the square root of 17. Okay, now this does not say inverse. This just says sine. So I don't want to find an angle measure. I want to find my measurement. So I'm going to take this same angle and I'm going to find sine, which is right here. So that is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So here's my angle. Opposite is going to be 4 over my hypotenuse, which is going to be the square root of 17. However, if you left it like this, you got it wrong on the quiz. You cannot have a radical on the bottom. You must put the radical on the top, which means I have to multiply it by the square root of 17 times the square root of 17, and I get 4 times the square root of 17 over 17, and that is my answer. Okay, now we have another one. Again, 3/5 is not on my unit circle. However, there was a question on the quiz that said 0.5. 0.5 is on my unit circle, guys. 0.5 is just a half. You need to be able to know that. That goes back to basic math. Okay, but 3/5 is not on my unit circle. So what do I need to do? I need to draw a triangle. Well, they're both positive, so I know it's going to be up here. Why, Mrs. Rutherford, is it not down here? Well, even though they both could be negative down here, the difference is I'm doing the inverse, which means I'm only going to be in this first quadrant or my negative first quadrant. And to be in my negative first quadrant, I would have to have one of these to be, I would need my 3 to be negative. Okay, so now that I'm here, I have a right angle, I have my angle, sine, again I'm going to do my SOHCAHTOA, some old hippo caught another hippo tripping over apples. Okay, so what that means is right here is my sine, and that is opposite over hypotenuse. So I have my sine, and this is opposite over hypotenuse. So my opposite is going to be 3, and my hypotenuse is going to be 5. Now I have to do Pythagorean theorem to find out what this side is. Again, this is where you guys make mistakes. Across from my right angle is my C. So that means I'm going to have 3 squared plus B squared, not 5 squared. Okay, 5 squared is my C squared. It goes right outside. So then I get 9 plus B squared equals 25. Minus 9 from both sides, and I get B squared to equal 16. This does not equal 16. B squared equals 16. I still have to find the square root of that. B will equal the square root of 16. Well, the square root of 16 is 4. Now secant. Secant is the opposite of cosine. So if cosine, which is down here, is adjacent over my hypotenuse, well, what does reciprocal mean again? Reciprocal means I'm going to flip it. So my secant is going to be h over a. Well, my h is 5 and my a is 4. So this is my answer for 29.